It's true. A lot of the times, the people from the past and the old people that you've had in your life for probably some time, they're not going to want to see you progress into the person that you're progressing into being. And they're also not going to want to see you elevate. And the reason that is because they feel like they're being left behind in some way. And it's not anything necessarily personal on your part. It's just the fact that you're just doing something that is in your eyes what's right for you. And a lot of the times, especially the chosen ones out there and any of God's elect out there, what you're going to be going through in times like these are specific kinds of trials and specific kinds of tests with people where you're going to be tested on your loyalty, and not necessarily to the other people around you. You're going to be tested on your loyalty to what God has in store for you. Because a lot of the times what God has in store for you, you didn't necessarily choose. You didn't necessarily choose to be doing what you're doing, and yet God placed you there to be some kind of light for the people around you. I know that I've experienced this multiple times since I started following Jesus more actively and more, I would say, absolute consciously. And the reason for that is because once you actually give your life and once you actually give your consciousness to serving the Most High, what God's going to ask you is whether or not you really want to be a part of what He's got in store for you. And if you want to be a part of what God's got in store for you, then you will be used as a vessel to serve for the Most High and the ancestral father, the ancestral mother, whether you're male or female. And this is going to be a beautiful thing, but it's also going to mean that you're going to have some nosy people in your life. People are going to want to know what exactly you've got going on and why it is that you have the confidence that you do and why it is that you have just the way that you carry yourself. And it's not necessarily anything that is bad all the time, but you should know that anybody that is too nosy in your life, they're usually not godly, and they're usually not trying to play an active role in your life in which benefits not just you and themselves, well, not just themselves, but you as well. And when you give your life over to the Most High, what you're actually doing is you're giving your consciousness over to the highest form of love, and you're giving it over to the highest form of being itself. And when you do this, a lot of the times the old people of the past are not going to want to accept you and who you've become and who you're becoming, because they're not used to it. They don't really understand that you are actually changing in real time. You are changing. And something that I've noticed a lot with people, specifically since I had my spiritual awakening 5 years ago, but when I really started to follow Jesus about 2 years ago, what changed the most was how fast I was progressing spiritually and how fast I was catching on to certain things. And I've always been a quick learner in certain aspects. And I've always had I wouldn't necessarily say it's been a rough time with technicalities, quote unquote, but I've always been more of a visionary. And I'm sure a lot of other people on this channel can relate to that in one way or another. And the reason that you are more of a visionary is because you understand that the world is spiritual. You understand that there are forces in this world that, besides evil, are working for you and working with you. And it can at times seem that there's only these evil forces all around you. There's only evil forces trying to bring you down. And don't be too discouraged by that. Don't be too discouraged. And the reason that you don't need to be too discouraged is that it's times like those that really test the strength of your faith. And it's not necessarily just the faith of the Most High. It's faith in who you are, what you really want for yourself, and why you want it. Why do you want those things? Because a lot of the times when you tell God what you want, he'll oftentimes say, yeah, I've got something better for you. Don't you worry, buddy. Don't you worry, buddy. I got something better for you. Maybe he doesn't say it like that, but you all know what I mean. And it's times like those where you have to accept it. And it's not always easy to accept it. It's not always easy to accept that you have to give up something that you actually really want because the standard or the morality doesn't quite fit. There's not quite a good match. There's not quite a good fit for you guys anymore. And this happens with people in your past. And when they start to see you going where you're going, they start to feel like they're getting left behind, and it's because they are getting left behind. It's not anything necessarily personal, but like I mentioned earlier, it's not necessarily anything that has to do with you hating them or wishing them ill will. It's just that you're going somewhere that isn't in line or aligned with where they're going and where they want to go. And if that's the case, you have to do what you have to do, as much as it sucks. And I'm starting to see the fruits of certain things really start to present themselves more and more in my life, especially over the past couple weeks. And I've had a lot of trials and spiritual attacks that have been increasing in intensity by the day. And today was the first day in like 2 weeks that I felt like, okay, like I am still grounded. I'm still not shaken. It's been very challenging, but I'm still doing what I need to do. I'm still doing what I have to do. And that's part of being it's not just part of being a man anymore. It's just part of being on the front lines of the spiritual war. Like, do you understand? We are on the front lines of a spiritual war? Do you really get that? Because if you don't, then you're psychologically and spiritually blind. And anybody that is coming into the truth for the first time, or you're in the truth, but you're like starting to have all of these, what I call, and what other people call as well, spiritual downloads. When you're starting to get these downloads and these like, just these revelations from God, what you're going to be able to do now is break the curses in society. You're going to be able to break the witchcraft that's in society as well. Because a lot of the times the society is operating under curses. It's not just generational curses that we have to deal with. It's like societal curses that we have to deal with. And if you are someone that is receiving these kinds of revelations from God, you are absolutely and 100% going to get into a position to where your words, even if they don't really seem like it, are just going to have a freeing effect on many different kinds of people. I've had people that when I speak, like in a room, and it's not just because I don't talk a lot at like the gym or whatnot. It's like whenever I speak, people listen. And it's because, at least like when I'm around in my community, and the reason is because I don't BS at all. I don't talk unnecessarily. I'm polite, I'm cordial, and I'm professional, but I am not someone that just talks to talk. And the reason that I'm doing all of these YouTube videos, that I try to put out a video like every day, The reason for that is because I have a lot to say on these kinds of topics, and I think what I have to say can resonate with a lot of different kinds of people. And I think a lot of the times people just don't really understand the true power that comes with all of these kinds of just talks in general. Like, who talks like this? Like, who has conversations like this? I don't know very many people that have conversations like this. The most that I've had conversations like this is over YouTube, like with you guys, and with consultations, and actually helping people go through what they're going through. I'm at a park, and there's like people stopping and staring at me now. It's kind of awkward, but and I've never made a video here at the park before, but I've always wanted to, because it's a beautiful place here. And I see you guys in the comments liking the outdoors kind of vibe that we got going on, so wanted to pay tribute there. And since it's going to be snowing here probably within the next month or so, like, we've actually already had snow, but it melted, and it's been really nice the last few days, but man, has it been stormy the previous week or two before that, here and there. But anyway, going back to the main topic, what you're going to have to deal with and what you're going to have to realize is that a lot of the times you're going to be the person that brings the light, but also someone that brings up other people's sins right before their eyes. And it's going to be like you're like a mirror. You're like a mirror to their sins, because they know what they're doing wrong. These people know what they're doing wrong. When you were in sin, you knew what you were doing wrong. You knew that what you were doing wasn't really right, but you kept doing it anyway, right? You kept doing it because you didn't really want to break free from those chains. But a lot of the times what you're going to have to do is use that sword that Christ came down to give us, because Christ says that he came not to bring peace but a sword. You're going to have to use that sword of truth to cut through the web of lies. And I mean that spiritually, and I mean that psychologically as well. A lot of the people out here are stuck in pathologies and they don't even know it. And a lot of the times, there's a brilliant comment that I saw in one of my videos recently that I wanted to articulate more on. It said that, like, psychological disorders are basically demonic possessions. And I think that's 100% true. I think that's very, very accurate. There's different ways, and I think I'd like to one day be able to actually articulate that in more detail and provide a bridge with the psychology as well as the spirituality behind it and the theory behind it as well. But I thought that was a good comment. That was a really good comment. And I'm really pleased to see comments like this in my videos. I'm really pleased to see... Don't know if y'all can hear that, but I'm sure you can. I'm really pleased to see those kinds of comments in videos like this, because it shows me that you guys are actually engaged, and it shows me that you guys are actually paying attention. But with all that being said, the lighting is starting to get kind of off here, so I think we'll go ahead and end it for today. But I hope this message was edifying. I hope it was insightful, and I hope it was useful. And until next time, peace be with you.